Welcome to the 20 Minutes of Influence podcast. I'm your host, Greg Jameson. And as you can see, if you're watching this on video, I've got a guest with me today. His name's Marty Dickinson. And Marty and I have actually known each other for a while. We've been hanging out in the same circles for a number of years, whether it be Toastmasters or internet marketing folks or whatever. We kind of run into each other a lot, but Marty was kind enough to give me some information here, and it's a way of introducing him other than just saying, I've got another friend on my podcast. So I'm going to go ahead and read a little bit of that for you here, and then I'm actually going to let Marty expand upon that. But basically, he started his first membership website in 1996. It's about the same time I started. I started in 95, so we're both old hat at this. His website was called musicmates.com. This was clearly before the term memberships website was even a term. And 6 months later, he was offered a promotion at his corporate sales job, and he resigned on the same day because he was making more money on his website and wanted to pursue internet marketing full time. Some of his participants in Music Mates were also business owners. As they watched the website rapidly expand, people started asking Marty to help with their internet marketing strategies. But they would always say, we'd like to hire you, but how do we know that you'll be around in 6 months? I get that question still today. It's interesting that I guess internet folks seem to be flakes, maybe. I don't know.
Bingo. Yeah, that's how it is.
But the fact that we've both been in this a long time here, I guess, means that we'll probably be around in 6 months.
Hopefully so.
So he founded an internet marketing agency called Here Next Year. For the next 20 years and a team of up to 14 helpers, Marty worked with more than 300 professional speakers, authors, and traditional business owners to improve their leads, sales, and presence on the web. Along the way, he launched more than 100 of his own websites, co-authored 2 editions of Web Marketing All-in-One for Dummies, published by Wiley, self-published instructional manuals for SEO, sales copywriting, and affiliate marketing, presented at National Speakers Association National Convention, partnered with Constant Contact for live workshop for their audiences, and even trained other web service providers how to build their service businesses. 2 years ago, Marty retired himself from managing internet marketing projects and began his own income replacement program, which he will be introducing to us today. I think that we would all like to have some income replacements or income additions, which is one of the great things about working on the internet. So at any rate, welcome, Marty. Why don't you say a few words here since I've been chatting for a bit?
Well, it sure is interesting to hear somebody introduce me with all that background, because it just seems like it's gone by like in 2 months. So that's how fast time goes. I guess not just with age, but working in a business where you love what you do. I mean, for you and me, we've said this before, that none of this is work. I mean, it's only work if a client's upset with you. The rest of it's just all fun. And, you're up even at 2 o'clock in the morning on your phone saying, ooh, what's that keyword? What can I work with that? It's crazy, but it's fun. It's like a game. It's like playing poker.
Yeah, we were talking before we started recording here about how we were both working all weekend. Well, what we were really doing was playing on our computers.
We chose that over skiing in this epic year? How could it possibly be?
Yeah, and so for those that don't know, both Marty and I are in Colorado, and this has been a phenomenal year for skiing. We're at, last I heard, 150% of normal. So
that's crazy. It makes up for last year, though.
Yeah. So before we get into today's topic, I have a question for you about Here Next Year. What do you think is one of the biggest mistakes clients make when working with people or agencies to help with their internet marketing?
Well, I believe that it is their willingness to give up control. It's a big topic of mine, is that if you're the business owner, you always have to be in control of your project. And there seems to be a lot of outsourcing going on, hiring internet marketing agencies, and people are just saying, take this off my hands. I don't even want to know anything about it. I don't want to know how it happened. Just go make me $1 million. And that is one of the biggest mistakes anybody can make. You as the business owner need to align yourself with an agency that's willing to put you in control of the process.
Yeah, you know, we did not script this for anybody that might be watching this. We did not script this ahead of time in terms of what Marty's responses might be on that. And I find that really interesting because that's one of the things that I've been kind of harping on people about for the last year in particular. But I mean, I've always been doing it, but the last year in particular, for me, it's been a big thing of you're the business owner, which means you need to step up to the plate and really wrap your hands around what information you're putting out there on the internet. Yeah, you can hire somebody to do a lot of the technical aspects of things, but you know your business, and no matter who you hire, they are not going to know your business as well as you do, which means that you need to be the one that's really in charge of, this is what I want to portray to the world.
Yeah, and they're not going to have nearly the passion as you have about your business either, especially a little later down the line. When you sign up with a monthly program with a service provider for $2,000 a month or whatever it is, they're going to be all over your project for the first 30 days. And then as the months go by, they bring on new clients, and then, well, you're kind of a little bit lower on the totem pole, and all of a sudden 6 months goes by, and well, where are my phone calls? Where are my emails where you're keeping me up to date? This happens every day. I just heard this weekend where a woman was working with a service provider and everything was going really well, and then all of a sudden, for one reason or another, it doesn't matter what side had the problem, but there was a falling out, and now she's being held hostage. He's got her website, he's got her domain name, he's waiting for payment, you know, all this kind of stuff. It just goes on and on and on. And this just happened this weekend. This did not happen 10, 15 years ago. It did. I mean, it did happen then. That's my point, is that some things never change. So a business owner always has to remain in control. Own your own domain name, own your hosting, and your course is a perfect setup in time now, because so many people are using WordPress. I signed up for the initial part of the course, and it's perfect timing for business owners who have no idea how to maintain their website. I mean, something so basic as that, that's like a starting point for getting control, and they really need to do that.
Yeah, and it's really beyond even just, you know, the fact that they need to control their website in terms of kind of the basic stuff like you're talking about, but what goes into that website, the fact that you have to constantly be putting out new content and so forth. It amazes me that people will not put any new content on their website for months at a time.
Still today. Yep, some things never change.
Like, do you really think somebody's going to come back to your website if you're not changing anything?
No way. No, a lot of people think websites aren't even important anymore. It's just crazy. I don't know how this repetition of discussions on Facebook groups that people are saying, you don't even need a website anymore. What? That's the heart of everything you do on the web. It's ridiculous.
And in fact, I read this article just a couple days ago about how Facebook is going to be changing it so that rather than having a news feed, it's going to be more about personal messaging and stuff. It almost sounded like they were going to morph it into WhatsApp or something. I'm just like,
yeah.
You know, if you don't own your own space on the internet, you are basically going to be screwed when somebody decides that that's no longer our business model.
Absolutely correct. Yep. Been saying it for years. You and I think a lot alike on a lot of things.
Yeah. So you had suggested a title for this podcast be about scaling back while propelling forward. Can you explain what your thought is on that?
It kind of is a backwards thought, isn't it? Because everything you see in internet marketing, all the Facebook ads you see are about how to go big, how to scale up, how to get multi-$1,000 coaching clients, and then how to get 100 of them and scale and scale and scale and get bigger and bigger and bigger. Well, a lot of the people I've been working with over the, we've been in this for so long, the people that I started out working with wanting that kind of growth are now kind of getting up in their years. They don't want to travel the world and speak in Singapore anymore and be gone for a week and a half or 2 weeks from their family, and or they're getting even maybe health is coming into play, or they have a family member that health is coming into play, and they had this lifestyle, this profession that they led and traveled all over the world, and you went to every internet marketing conference, getting on stage and doing the pitches and things. So, that takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of commitment, and it takes a lot of sacrifice too. So I'm just seeing a lot of people that are just a little bit older than I am in that realm where they're trying to scale back and replace that income and make that happen. So that's their challenge is, what do I do now? What is out there? What's up and coming that I don't have to do all that traveling and still make that kind of income?
Yeah, there's no question that people that are our age or a little bit older, that we're all starting to think about, okay, what am I going to do here to maintain my lifestyle as I start to get older? But I really don't feel like working as hard as I used to. So I think that's an important thing. So how are you, what are you telling these people? Okay, go ahead and scale back, but by the way, you're going to be eating Alpo for dinner, or?
Well, it's kind of been a long journey to discover that. I hate that word journey. It's so cliche, but that's exactly what it's been. And I'm like, why didn't I think of this before? It's crazy. I can give you an example. A few years ago, when live video started coming out, I finally realized I have to get into video. The time has come, but I wasn't comfortable talking on video. I would have avoided video as long as possible. I don't have a full head of hair. I'm not 26 years old and have 5 day shadow. Sorry, I'm not that kind of guy. So I tended to avoid video, and so I put together a group of my own clients and friends and connections and things, and we got a Zoom account just like what we're meeting on here. And for once a week, every week for the next 6 months, we got together and we started practicing speeches just like we do in Toastmasters to present on live video, which has a whole slew of best practices that nobody seems to talk about. And so we started practicing those, putting them together, and I was really surprised when one day, it was about 2 months into this little mastermind group that we had, I got a message from Aileen Ellis. Aileen Ellis has been a longtime client of mine. She's a member of NSA, and she teaches the project management training for the test that all the IT people take for project management. And she would do the same thing. She would travel all over the place and recruit people to come into her training, her certification training program. And she was on Zoom, and she realized all I have to do is bring those people onto Zoom and I could do the same training. So she has 80% replaced the income that she used to have to go travel around to get to by using the Zoom video. So that was really the first introduction to the idea that it was even possible, but that was still just speaking. That was still committing time to speaking. So I thought, well, that's a good idea. So how can I generate something even a little bit better for myself? Because that's still not really me to do live presentations on Zoom every other day. That's just not my thing. So at the same time this was all happening, there was this crazy little book that my wife wrote here, and it's called God's Law of Attraction. And it was just a little pet project that she decided to put on Amazon and see how things went, and never even paid attention to it. And lo and behold, this book was selling. We weren't even doing anything to market the darn thing, and it was selling. It wasn't making a lot. It was making like $30, $40 a month or something. But we thought, gosh, Marty, you've been doing this for so long, this internet marketing stuff. Why don't you try promoting this book and see what can happen? And we did for a very short time, and we had a really good sales quarter for just through Christmas. Christmas is a perfect season to sell books. So we did that through the end of a year, and we realized that we could do that. So I thought, I wonder, all we have to do is write 50 books out there and we'll have our retirement. But the problem with that is that I'm such a slow writer. I mean, I am a turtle at writing, and with this age thing happening, I'm even a slower writer than I was 15, 20 years ago. So I had to come up with a system to do that. And I did. And so now we have, not only do I have books of my own, we write books for clients. And we just released this one, The Magical Manager, a couple of weeks ago. So this guy, he's just getting into speaking in his early 60s, and he's going to go around and teach managers how to double their productivity and all that. So he's got a process for showing people how to do that. So we've got all these books. We've got 20 that we've produced so far, and we've got a process to do it so that we get all the content done within a week. Usually it doesn't have to be a week, but we can get all the content we need for a book in a week. And then usually it's about a 2 to 3 month turnaround for the whole book to be done and out there and selling. So that's my retirement plan. I mean, I'm not very good at stocks and real estate, but I can put together books. So all we have to do is accumulate enough books, put our usual promotion method into play, and we've got we're generating an income. So that's what's been exciting over the past couple of years, is this method we've come up with for producing book content.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break, but on the other side of the break, we have to dig into this further, because I've written a number of books myself, and I can't write a book in a week. I've been able to do it in a month, but you're obviously intriguing me here, and hopefully you're intriguing some of the people listening to this podcast as well.
Sure.
So we'll be right back after this. Are you a business owner that runs an online shop? I have a free course available for you. It goes over the features that every great product page should have. This course can double or even triple your sales, whether you are selling on a marketplace like Amazon or selling on your own e-commerce website. The examples use WordPress and WooCommerce, but are applicable to any online store. In this course, we're going to discuss buyer personas, buyer persona specific headlines, high quality photos, videos, buyer specific descriptions, specifications, short descriptions, call to actions, and social proof. You can register for this class and get free access at webstoreslimited.com/free class. This free class includes a 15-minute video lesson, a 20-page ebook, and a handy checklist. That link again is webstoresltd.com/free class. Well, welcome back to the 20 Minutes of Influence podcast. As you heard right before the break, Marty, my guest here, Marty Dickinson, was describing a method where he's talking about doing some income replacement by writing a book in a week. And that really got me wondering exactly how this is scaling back, one, and two, how he's going to be able to make all of this happen, because I think we would all like to have some income replacement or, as I said, some income addition. So explain more, Marty.
Well, the first key to it all is the scaling back part, is that I don't have to go anywhere to do it. I'm here. I can do my writing here. I can do my writing when I'm on a walk in a park. I can do my writing when I'm skiing. It doesn't matter where I am. I can generate content. But the secret, I'm going to give you the secret sauce here, because there are not enough people talking about this. I'm starting to see a couple of companies come out with this technique that I've been using, but I'm sure they don't. I mean, everybody has their proprietary method for doing it. And since I've been working with website development for the past 20 years and digging content out of people for their website. Anybody who's been an agency, part of an agency for making websites, knows the hardest part of making a website is getting content. Well, I would get content out of a client and then produce their website for them. And I'm just using the same techniques as I did for that to get content out of what I call an expert, who is the source of the content. So the source can be anywhere. It's easier than ever to make a book now, because all I have to do as the guide is guide my source through a process to get the content out of their brain that's already there. You don't have to go researching anything. You're already an expert. Matter of fact, I'll bet in 15 seconds I could have you come up with an idea for another book. One that you haven't written before. Are you on? Are you up for the challenge? You haven't brought this topic before. You ready?
Except that I may have to write it.
you might, but here it is. If you and I were to meet at a coffee shop right after this podcast, and I was to ask one question where you could reply to me for the next 6 hours straight without me even asking a question, what would that topic be? What would that question be that I would have to ask? And then add the word how to in front of it. And you've got your topic. Now, if my pattern is right, because I did this in front of a group of Toastmasters, 125 people in the room, and 98% of the room raised their hand that said they had an idea. You probably have about 30 that just popped in your mind. But see, that's where I'm trying to get this message out to speakers that are getting up in age, to service providers that are getting up in age, that you have so much valuable content in your brain right now. It is really just a shame to let it go. And if you sit back and say, I'm going to write that book this year. Yes, I'm going to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning like all the book writing coaches tell you to do, and I'm going to churn out 500 words a day. Yes. No, it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen, because you are getting up in age and you can't do things as fast as you used to. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you have more energy than before, and that's great. But there is a quadrant of people out there that have just amazing information that they are holding back because they're maybe going to make their life's work one book. No, when you use this method, you can have 5 books by the end of this year. You could have 10 books by the end of next year, 20 in a couple of years. Once you know the process and have a sequence step by step to follow, creating the content for a book is easy. It's the rest of the stuff you have to focus on, like making your cover and coming up with a name and a back cover sales copy content and your book description. Focus on all that stuff. But the content itself should be easy. It should just come out of you as a guide, as steering you through a course.
Yeah, and I'm actually doing a lot of that kind of stuff with courses this year rather than me writing more books. I'm like, okay, let's take that, because I do have a bunch of information to share with people. So I'm like, let's put that into some courses where it really makes sense, because something like what we're talking about here on Zoom videos, anybody can do this Zoom video.
Yep.
And you can just sit here and interview another expert, and there's additional content right there.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think you're on the right track too, because you and I are also putting together I have a course that I'm just now launching for how to do this, because I know, I'm only one person. I have a team of 4 people, keeping everything really small. I've had lots of people working for me and all that, but just a small, closely knit group. We can only work on a few books at a time. There's bandwidth there, and that's fine. That's exactly what I want to do, what I've chosen to do. But there's another step to this. After you've learned how to put together a book, after you've learned how to generate the content, the next step is a course. So I have membership websites. I've been doing membership websites for years, but I think membership websites are more of a support arm now, something that you add later. But what's really hot right now are courses. You can come up with a course and put it on Udemy or Teachable in a matter of a couple of hours. to make a good course, it takes a lot longer than that. I've been
I was going to say, I haven't been able to do that.
But that's why it's a stepping stone process. You have to go through the wickets. First, you need to get good at something. You need to provide those services and get really good at something so that you can help virtually anybody that comes your way. Then put your process into a book. Then put your process into a course to make it available on a wider scale. And that's where the scaling comes in, making it available to a wider scale instead of trying to ramp up how many people are servicing those clients. See, that's the changeover I've seen in the services industry over the past couple of years.
Yeah. So the books that you're holding up there, these are books that you are authoring. You're going to write 20 books this year, or this is stuff you're pulling out of people and basically ghostwriting it for them?
I'm writing my own books, and I'm producing these books for other people, and I don't call it ghostwriting at all, because a ghostwriter will typically interview you for maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours, or if you pay a really big ghostwriter to go into your office, that's how Trump got his book written. He had somebody go into his office for 6 weeks, and he interviewed every day, and he listened in on all the conversations he had, things like that. This is totally different. This enables you to not have to have a ghostwriter. Ooh, interesting. Because that was one of my criteria. I needed to create a method that I didn't need to go to somebody and produce it and pay a ghostwriter thousands of dollars to write a book for me. I mean, that's already been there. That people have already done that. But I don't want to pay somebody $10,000 or more to write a good book for me. I mean, sure, you can go to Fiverr and hire somebody in a third world country for $75 to write a book for you, but that could do more damage to your business than help. Yeah. So you have to be really careful about the kind of content you put out there. It's got to be not only high quality, but my method, when I set out to create a method for this, it had to be a higher quality than what I could write, the traditional way of writing and typing. If I could come up with that, then I was on to something. So yes, my goal is 50 books of my own, but I'm also producing these books for clients one by one. We're not farming it out. But, that's not, I'm not here to sell my services as a book producer to people, because I just don't have that kind of bandwidth. I have to be really picky about the clients I take on to do that. But what I am here to do is say there is a new way to produce book content that it's not a labor. It's not a labor anymore to produce content. It's fun. It's just like what we're doing here, except a lot more in depth and for a longer period of time. And you're going to wake up the next morning after your first session doing this, and you're going to say, I have a list of 15 books I want to create now. And it's that easy. It really is.
All right. Well, you've got me intrigued on all of that. You've been talking about people getting older and how this affects us as some income replacement. What about younger people? Does it make sense for them to do this?
Oh, I really hope that someone watching this podcast, even though we're talking about people getting older in the business, I really hope that somebody in their teens or 20s is watching this, because one day they're going to get there too. And it's going to just go by that fast. It's just crazy. So you really need to be conscious of that along the way and find products that you can be promoting to build up your affiliate revenue. I'm a big affiliate marketer. I always have been. And I have a core of 15 affiliate programs that I've been promoting for years. And I don't do a lot to promote them. One of those, for example, is Best Domain Place, like the best place to go, BEST, bestdomainplace.com. That's where I've had all my clients register their domain names for years, because I just got tired of rescuing everybody's domain names from the chains of their web designers that registered their domain names and their names. So that's an example. As you provide services, find those places where you can align as an affiliate or a joint venture partner, and for years and years, you'll be able to keep getting that recurring revenue from your affiliate programs. It's really important to build that as time goes on.
Yeah, and I put affiliate links inside of my courses and inside of my books and stuff all the time, because it's absolutely good additional income.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So uh, I guess the big question here is this a service that you're providing then? This is a course you're providing? Both? And how do people find out more about it?
Yeah, some people just they don't want to have any involvement in the book process, and yet they are, they're really busy. They don't have time to produce a book. They don't even want to get into that realm, and that's fine. We do offer the services for that. I found a company that does what we do, and they charge $40,000 to give you an example of what we do. I don't charge anywhere near that, so you don't have to worry about the real high ticket items like that. But there is about 150 hours of time that it takes to go through from A to Z on our end to produce a book from concept to customer, as I call it. So there's a significant investment on our side as a service provider to be able to offer that for you. So we're very selective. But for the masses out there, we have just launched a course that I call the Ultimate Book Producer. So you can go to my website at producemybook.com, and it's all there. I don't hide anything. I don't make you opt in before you see the good stuff and prices. It's all there. I just put it all out there so you can see what we charge for services. You can see what the course is, and you can go to one thing I suggest everybody does. You go to producemybook.com and just register for a recorded webinar that I put together. I've been recording webinars for the past couple of weeks and having live audiences on there. And I really nailed it this one time. So I recorded it and put it on there, but it goes through this whole process in about 45 minutes. So it gives you a lot of detail about what's happening in the publishing industry right now and what's happening with Amazon and how you have to write books a certain way or they don't even get read and you don't get paid and all that. I mean, people just don't even know a lot of those things about what's happening with books right now. So it's an educational piece. At the same time, it introduces you to why it's so important to check out our course if you're not one to want to pay a service provider to just take you through the whole process. And the other component to this is that I'm pretty sure that this course that I offer is the only course of its kind where we actually create a book from start to finish. I mean, content and everything. I have my source on a phone, and I'm going through my own list of questions in a sequence that I'm asking those questions, and she's replying, and we're interacting back and forth. So you get to see how the source produces content, and you see how the guide extracts the content. And that's really what's been missing all this time. Is maybe you've even heard of people like going over somebody's house and interviewing them. You get a case of beer and you say, yeah, we're going to make a book and I'm going to interview you, and you can just transcribe this content, and voila, you've got a book. And all of a sudden the book never gets done because you get drunk and you go swimming or you make steaks on the grill or whatever, and it never gets done. So this includes a process for people who are really serious about getting it done. And they've tried before and it's just not happening. They don't have time. They're traveling a lot still. And I mean, you can do this from anywhere, but there's two people. Once you get into this course, you invite a friend of yours into this course to work together. So you both could produce a book using this method with one sign up for the course. That's what's, those two things are really unique about it, where we actually are creating the content for a book and also two people join in this so that you can work together and have me as an accountability partner as well. And I'll make sure you get the book done.
Well, I definitely know some people that need to be in that kind of a situation. I've had friends telling me for years that they're going to write a book. And these are people that are already recognized as experts in their field, but they don't have that one credential. And, for anybody listening or watching this, I can tell you that having a book with your name on it is the single best calling card you could ever.
Absolutely.
I have people paying me lots of money to build them websites still, simply because during the sales process, I hand them a copy of my book, and all of a sudden, I'm not just the guy that knows how to make a website. I'm the guy that wrote the book on the topic.
Right. Yeah, I did the same thing, and I carry this back on my my filing cabinet over here, I have my web marketing all-in-one for dummies book, and I used to lug that thing, you know, all 860 pages of the darn thing. I'd lug it around to networking events, and I'd just plop it down next to me, and I'd go to a conference, and I'd plop it down next to me, and somebody would say, "What's your name?" And then Marty Dickinson, you're right there's my name, and oh. You're the Marty Dickinson on the book cover, you mean? Yeah. Well, oh, I want to talk to you. I mean, you just can't avoid it. And you know, Hazel is a great example too. Hazel Ramsbotham, she's 80, she's almost 89 years old, and together we wrote a book, 88 Keys to Living a Long and Purposeful Life. She takes this book with her wherever she goes, and wherever she sits down, she plops it down next to her, and she sells the book. They see her picture on the book, and somebody starts talking to her about it, and she's, "Yep, for $20 you can have it. I'll even sign it." I mean, it's that easy.
Yeah. All right. So any final words that you want to tell our listeners?
Well, I would say that when it comes to producing content of any kind, there is a lot of baggage that I know everybody's carrying. There are a lot of ways that we've been brought up to believe content must be created. There's only one way to create content. If it's going to be good, you have to sit there and write and type it. And that you just have to let go of that, because times are changing. Times are already changing. I mean, this process is changing the way book content is created. It's easier than ever. Just get it done so you can move on to the even more fun stuff, like building a course for yourself and replacing that income that you usually have to travel around to get to. You know, that's my final appeal.
Sounds great. And I'll make sure that your link of producemybook.com is in the show notes as well. And really just want to thank you for being on the show today. Appreciate it.
I appreciate your offer. Thanks again.